nice to be here. I live just up the road. I live in Finsbury Park. I don't know. Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? I live just near the Argos Extra. Don't know if you know Argos Extra. It's like a smaller version of Argos. They've used the rare definition of extra to mean far, far less. You go in, they've got the normal catalogue, which is full of things they've never had in stock, and then I was dialing into the stock checker for 20 minutes, nothing came up. The guy came over, he goes, "Are you all right?" I said, "Well, you haven't got anything." I said, "Well, what you've got to remember is we've got a greatly reduced range. I mean, to give you an idea, that warehouse out the back is actually no bigger than this room we're having the discussion in now." So, well, here's an idea. Go out the back, get that stuff, bring it through here. We'll call the whole thing a shop. Because currently, what I am doing is dialing in numbers and attempt to guess what's the other side of a wall. I mean, this isn't shopping, this is battleships. I mean... So I've been in here 20 minutes, I don't even remember what I came in for. I'm just dialing in random numbers. The only thing I've found that you've got in stock is a Playboy-themed hot water bottle. He said, "Yeah, that's one of our sexier items." I said, "When did the hot water bottle become a sexy item?" From my experience, it's used for two things: cold feet and period pains. I mean, call me a weirdo, I'm not turned on by either of them. I mean, if there is a relationship, surely, between a hot water bottle and sex, it's that when you see your partner is filling up a hot water bottle, you are not having sex. It is that... He said, "Well, no, it's sexy, isn't it? Because it's shaped like a rabbit." I said, "Is that sexy? Is it? Obviously, we had different emotional reactions to Watership Down. I mean... I don't understand this Playboy idea that the way to make a woman sexy is to give her the ears and tail of a rabbit. It's always the ears and tail, isn't it? I don't know if there's other prototypes Hugh Hefner tried out that didn't work out for him, that he brought out for his mates and gone, "Do you fancy her? She's got buck teeth and paws. No, what about her? She has fur, and I've put her in a hutch. No, third time lucky, she has myxomatosis. She shits Maltesers." I'm not in a relationship. I came out of a relationship about 6 months ago. The worst bit's just after, when no one knows what to say to you. So people say, "Well, you know, think of the good times. It's better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all." But that's not true, is it? No, it's not. That's not how losing things works. Because when you lose your phone, your first reaction isn't, "Well, at least I had a phone." I mean... It's better to have had a phone and lost a phone, isn't it? Than never to have phoned at all. I mean... Think of all those phone calls, they're memories I will always cherish. I mean... It's one of those relationships that petered out. I don't know if you had one. We got to the end and then she said, "I think this has petered out." And then I agreed. And then we split up. And then I thought, I've got no fucking idea what petering is. The only thing I know about petering is it's bad news because it always goes in the same direction. Out. Nothing's ever petered in, has it? I said to someone, "How did you two get together?" "Well, it's an interesting story, actually. We were friends, but then we started petering together." Before I knew, we petered all the way in. If I'd known I was petering out, I would have stopped petering. The problem is, you're only told once you've petered. It's very similar to when someone's had it up to here with you, isn't it? They only let you know once you've reached that level. I think they should give you a warning at about the halfway stage. Just so you know, I've had it up to about here with you. If you do keep taking that cheese, it's meant for the top of the lasagna, you'll be up to here by dinner time, and that is the danger zone. Doesn't explain anything, Peter. You wouldn't accept it in other situations. Turn up at an autopsy, go, "You worked out what happened to my brother?" "Well, yeah, we've had a look, and we think he petered out." Either that or he'd had it up to here with drowning. I mean, we're not sure. It's difficult being single. I went to the cinema on my own for the first time recently. I didn't realise that is the act of an odd ball. I didn't know that. I've eaten alone before. Do not do that. Do not go to Pizza Express on your own. I went to Pizza Express on my own. I said, "Can I have one, please?" Table for one, and she said, "No." Then she sat me on a table for two and slowly removed the cutlery of the non-existent second person. So you don't need to do that. I'm not going to get confused. I'm going to get halfway through the meal, look down and go, "Where the fuck's my girlfriend gone?" I mean, I didn't think I had one, but the knife and fork say otherwise. I mean... So I went to the cinema on my own. I went to see a film and it wasn't on, but you kind of feel by that point it's rude to leave without seeing something. So I managed to convince myself for the next 90 minutes I wanted to watch Alvin and the Chipmunks 2. The Squeakquel. Went up to the desk and said, "I'll have one, please, for Alvin and the Chipmunks 2. The Squeakquel." I mean, I haven't seen the first one, but I do imagine I'll pick it up. I mean... And she said, one, and I said, yeah, one. And she said, well, you do know it's Orange Wednesday, don't you? It's 2 for 1. I said, that's not much help for me, I'm 1. What do you expect me to do with a second ticket? So, well, you could offer it to someone else. I said, look, people already think I'm weird. Well, let's just stalk the foyer, brandishing a ticket for Alvin and the Chipmunks too. The squeakquel showing who would like to come and sit next to me. I think that's going to make matters worse. I left. I thought I'll go and get food. I thought I won't get got this time. Didn't go to Pizza Express. I went to Wagamama. They've got those long benches. I thought that'll be fine. I sat on my own on the end of a long bench. Group of 3 came in. She decided to sit them 2 opposite me, 1 next to me, to create a square. I go, what are you doing? This isn't Tetris. What's going to happen if you complete the line? Do we all disappear? Is that how this works? I'm here to talk about world news. I don't think you can start world news without talking about the Eurozone. Like, everything is going wrong. They had a meeting about it. It's still going on. They tried to do this meeting. They thought they'd come to a conclusion. They had a meeting till 4 a.m. And they thought they'd made a decision. No good decision has ever been made at 4 a.m. The only decisions I've ever made at 4 a.m. is I'm going to phone my ex-girlfriend and tell her I am over her. The other one is I'm going to get a rickshaw. And then go to my ex-girlfriends and tell her I'm over her. If you don't understand it, it's because it's quite complicated. Just don't look at it this way. Basically, if you don't understand what Greece have done, just imagine you've gone for a curry with about 10 mates. And one of them, he's ordered the king prawn curry. He's refused to share a rice. He's having his own naan bread. He's had 5 kingfishers. Then at the end, he's gone, shall we split the bill? And then it's transpired he's forgotten his wallet. That is Greece. That is what happened. Yeah. I think the problem is people don't understand. People are going, well, what happens if Greece goes bankrupt? Are they going to disappear? Is that what happened? It's not Xavi. We're not just going to board up Greece. Go, God, do you remember Greece? God, you can still get it online, I think. It's not like the end of Big Brother, where once it leaves, Greece will be over. Davina will ask it a couple of questions, go, so what was going on with you in Italy? And then she'll show Greece's best moments, a montage set to Snow Patrol. I say, what does that look like? I can show you what that looks like. I've made a montage of Greece's best moments. So, Greece, you've been a wonderful contestant, but here are some of your best bits. It's moussaka, that one. Some plate smashing. Struggling. I was really struggling by the end, if I'm honest. Hello. It's on with the global news. We're excited about the global news. In Spain, a man went to a cash point, right, to take out some money, put in his number, and out came a snake. I do not need to know that's possible. I find it stressful enough when the buttons don't line up with the screen. That is the worst. Cash point roulette when you go, I want 20, do not let this be 40. Oh, my God, should I just go for 10? Should I play it safe? No, I'm going to gamble I've got 40. If I'm going, I want 20, do not let this be a boa constrictor. I mean, come on. What is he meant to do with a snake? I once got a Scottish £20 note. I had that for 6 months. Can't take a snake into HMV, go, no, hold it up, you can see the Queen, look, it's real. So how did it get in there? I mean, I struggle to deposit a tenner if it's a bit dog-eared. How much do you have to flatten out a snake to get it in? The queue building up behind you going, oh, come on, mate, it's Friday afternoon, get on with it. You're flattening it out going, come on, mate, I've got a bad snake here, let me off. And someone stuck it back together with sellotape, I can see that. I felt sorry for him initially, but I actually think it's a good thing. I think, because there are a lot of people at cash points that I do think should be attacked with animals as a way just of control. I think they should bring it in. Like, for instance, anyone who asks for a receipt and then leaves it in the machine for me to take out for them. Octopus in the balls, that's what I'd have for them. Anyone that gets their cash and card out and then remains standing at the machine while they fold it into their wallet while a queue continues behind them. Little dog shagging the leg. That would sort that out right there. Or the worst. worst, anyone that puts their numbers in, gets told there is no cash, and then walks off and doesn't tell the rest of the queue. So that we have to go through the same thing. Savaged by a pack of wolves, that's what that should be. My favourite story of the week, though, Colonel Gaddafi is still rumbling on that Colonel Gaddafi, all the details coming out. The detail that came out this week is that Colonel Gaddafi had a pen pal who was an 81-year-old florist from New York. That is the best one since when that teenager claimed he shot him. I like that teenager, because there's one of those teenagers at every school, isn't there? It's going, yeah, I shot Colonel Gaddafi, yeah. And I had sex 5 times this afternoon. Yeah, and I've had trials for Man U, yeah. You might go, well, was Colonel Gaddafi a good pen pal? I don't know. I can tell you, because I didn't want to reveal this. I was Colonel Gaddafi's pen pal, actually, when I was 10. And I've got a letter he wrote to me here. I'll read it to you now. It's very nice. It's from Colonel Gaddafi. Dear Josh, thank you for your letter. In answer to your question, no. In Libya, we do not have Hubba Bubba. Though that does sound like you blew a very big bubble. I recently blew up an American embassy. I cannot believe your sister stole your Hadaway CD. My sister once did a similar thing to me. She regretted that. God have mercy on that harlot's soul. I wonder if she is listening to Hadaway in hell. Ha, ha, ha. Your holiday in America sounds like lots of fun. Did you remember to leave the package outside the White House? There have been no reports on the news, which disappoints me greatly. Yours sincerely, your friend, Colonel Gaddafi. P.S. Death to the West. P.P.S. Yes, I agree. Michaela Strachan makes my willy tingle as well. The final story this week, and perhaps my favourite, what it was, it says, a dinner lady in Sweden. The students complained that her food wasn't good enough, and she decided, in response, rather than make her food better, to strip down to her smalls and do a pole dance in front of the students. Now, you go, that's a sexy story. That is only a sexy story if you focus on the word Swedish rather than the word dinner lady. Because if that had happened in my school, I would have been put off food for weeks. My free milk would have curdled. That's what would have happened there. Only in Sweden do you have pole dancing facilities in a children's canteen. Also, only in Sweden do you think that is an adequate response to a complaint? What is going through my mind going, I'm sorry, these pancakes are not good enough? Well, hold it right there. Does that change your mind? No, but it does explain the hair in my custard. Let's start in Pakistan with the best story of the week, where in Pakistan authorities have decided to ban 1,600 terms from text messages because they are too rude. And these terms include the wanking euphemisms, axing the ferret, and flogging the dolphin. First things first, why do we need them? Who is texting someone to tell them they're wanking? God, this is going really well. I better let Steve know. Steve, you are not going to believe this. I couldn't text a wank. I struggled to do that thing where you rub your stomach and hit your head at the same time. If that was a problem, there'd be a template on your phone. Sorry, I'm going to be late. I'm just flogging the dolphin. And the internet is buffering, so I could be up to 15 minutes, so... Rotham. Rolling on the floor, masturbating. They're not even good euphemisms. Someone texted me and said I'm flogging the dolphin. I wouldn't know what Steve's either wanking or there's problems down at the aquarium. Flogging the dolphin, axing the ferret. Basically, it's just being mean to an animal. You could do any. Where have you been? Oh, I've just been upstairs taunting the lobster. You're not going to believe what happened to me the other day. I thought I was at home alone. My parents came in, caught me disinheriting the hedgehog. Here are the words. It's not just wanking words. I've got a list of all the... Well, not all of them, just some of the best. They include monkey crotch, backdoor, athlete's foot, do me, and harder. It's like the worst packet of love hearts you have ever got. My favourite is athlete's foot. Who is turned on by that? Who's going, what are you wearing? A verruca sock. And what if you take it off? Yeah, covered in bunions. Oh. Basically, the person that came up with the list is just one of those annoying people that sees an innuendo in anything you said. So he got the job, he just came into the interview, they said, we've been having a look at your resume, I bet you have. Do you like a hands-on role? I thought you'd never ask. Can you use Microsoft Excel? Well, give me a drink. That doesn't even work, mate, move on. But food news, we'll finish with food news, food world news. Are we into food? Get ready for some exciting news, because a man in Holland has managed, in a lab, to make the first lab beef burger. Yeah, that's how excited I was as well. He said, right, it's exactly like a normal beef burger. The only difference is it cost him $250,000. And it's transparent. He's made an expensive, invisible beef burger. Basically, he's made the Emperor's New Beef Burger. That's what he's made there. That's just a guy that hasn't done any work on it. What have you been working on for the last 2 years? Oh, I've got an invisible beef burger. Yeah, have you seen my invisible lab assistant? Now I'm going home to have sex with my invisible girlfriend. The next things, right, he said he was going to clone was sausages and chicken nuggets. Is this the only man that's never progressed on the Little Chef kids menu? What have you been working on for the last year? Well, cloning the Knickerbocker Glory, actually. He says, right, that this burger is going to save the world, right? His statement was that it's less unnatural than raising animals in intensive confinement systems, injecting them with hormones and feeding them with diets of animal waste. I mean, that is a man who is not good at coming up with slogans, isn't he? That is not the man that came up with I'm loving it. Not the best food story of the week. The best food story of the week is that they've decided to open the world's first pasty museum. Really exciting. Does anyone have a guess where it is? Cornwall, good guess. Mexico, correct. Who is going to travel to Mexico to learn more about the pasty? Who is eating a pasty and goes, I need to know more about this, so... When I am eating a pasty, I think I want to know as little about what goes into this as possible. I want to see an old pasty, I'll just go to a service station. There's always one at the back of the cabinet, like really dusty. You get it out, dust it off, it's got a competition for tickets to Euro 96. But you're excited, obviously, you want to go to Mexico for the Pasty Museum. Don't worry, because I have brought it to you, because I can proudly announce they're opening it in Mexico in March. I have now beaten them to it, and I have the world's first Pasty Museum. A round of applause, please, for my Pasty Museum. Now you're impressed, aren't you? So at the start, I'm very proud of this. This is Hitler's pasty. The story, that was given to him by the Prime Minister of Poland, actually, in 1938. They didn't realise he was a vegetarian. He took one bite, and the rest is history on that one. So, that one there, that's JFK's pasty. You might notice those holes come from different angles, so... one for the conspiracy theorists there, I think. That's Guy Fawkes' pasty. A little overdone, if anything. That's Michael Jackson's pasty. He hasn't touched it. His lawyer told me to say. And this final one, I made this one in a lab. $250,000, it'll solve world hunger. We're going to start in America with NASA, and NASA this week, they were launching a rocket to Mars. This comes on the heels of a few weeks ago when they decided they were scrapping all of their spaceships. Honestly, that is the best scrap heap challenge episode there will ever be. The red team are in a Citroen engine tethered to a rickshaw, and the blue team are in Apollo 12. This could be close. Well, who wants to go to Mars? And this was the week where Thomas Cook almost went bust. We can't afford to go to Spain. I'm going to spend $1 million to go to somewhere where the selling points are it's -5 degrees and it once had water. The only way that is getting worse is if they build a Lineker's bar. I've got a picture here of the probe they're sending up. This is it. There it is. It's called Curiosity. Curiosity is not a good name. There used to be called things like Apollo and Challenger and Sputnik. The kind of names you give a gladiator on that TV show. Curiosity would be the worst gladiator there has ever been. Even I would fancy my chances against him in Hang Tough. Curiosity, right? The last two are called Spirit and Opportunity. Spirit, Opportunity and Curiosity are not names for spaceships. They are excuses for a one-night stand. The next one's going to be called Christmas Do. Basically, if you have a look at Curiosity, what it's doing there, is it's apparently going to travel around Mars looking for organic matter. Organic matter, that is the most middle-class spaceship there has ever been. Here are some of the other things on it. That bit at the front, that searches for the nearest Cath Kidston. And that bit at the back, that checks when the farmer's market is closing. That bit at the top, that's just looking for good schools. Going, is it a good catchment area? Well, we're only 4 light miles from Jupiter. But my favourite story in America this week was in Ohio, where a policeman was accused of stealing 20 items from work, including 13 air conditioning units. And when this came to court, they said, "Did you do it?" And he said, "No. The person who did it was a ghost that lives in my house." How did he think he was going to get away with that? Go, no, there's definitely a ghost in that basement. I mean, when you go in there, you get a chill down your neck. Yeah, of course you do. There's 13 air conditioning units in there. Scary ghost there's ever been. I mean, I've seen some scary films. Never have I seen one where they go, "Just when you thought it was safe to take off your cardigan." Oh, wait, he got to the end of the case, right? He was found guilty of 18 of the 20 charges, which implies for 2 of them, the jury thought, well, that was probably the ghost, wasn't it? So they go, well, he's not going to steal the air conditioning unit, but these last 2, a big white sheet and some rattling chains, well, that would suit him perfectly. The only evidence, right, no wonder he lost, the only evidence the guy gave, right, were some drawings he'd done himself of the ghost. It's not take heart. That is not evidence as well like that. You can't just go, "Oh, I've drawn something paranormal, there's my alibi." If that counts, right, I've done some drawings that are going to clear up some historic crimes. Here's the first one. You might think that Lee Harvey Oswald killed JFK. I've actually done a drawing of him on the day playing ping pong with the ghost of Henry VIII. Look at the calendar, it's proof. A lot of people going, did Rupert Murdoch know about the hacking? I don't know. Well, I'll tell you he didn't, because on the day of the hacking, he was actually at Alton Towers on a log flume with the Loch Ness Monster. That was proof enough. It's Christmas shopping time in America, and it's the sales as well, and it's got out of hand. A woman in the sales decided what she was going to do is, when competing for an Xbox 360, she decided to pepper spray a fellow shopper. You say that's out of order. I think that's the real spirit of giving. I mean, she cares far more than that kid on the John Lewis advert, doesn't it? He's just gone and bought a present. Until you've temporarily disabled an OAP to get a games console, that is not love, that's what I say. My favourite story about it was that it was an Xbox 360. They came out in 2005. She's had 6 years to buy that. What else did she do? Attack someone with a mallet because they were going for the JCB song by Niz Loppy. The best deal was she paid for it. So she's going, "No, I'm not a criminal, I'm paying for this. I mean, I'll pepper spray someone, that's fine, but I will pay for it." It's like going into a bank with a sawn-off shotgun and go, "Get down on the floor, I want to pay in a cheque." "No, I want to order a chequebook as well, put your hands in the air, yeah. I don't want to change my address." And storming out, coming back 5 minutes later, going, "I took a small pen by mistake, I do apologise, I'm not a thief." The best thing was the police said, "Oh, we don't know who it is," because the people couldn't give a clear description. Of course they couldn't. They've been pepper sprayed in the eyes. I've actually got, here is a picture the police have made of the person. It's actually a guy in Ohio going, "That's the guy that stole the things from my bloody flat. That's the air conditioning guy." Hello? We well? On with the global news. At the global news, I'm going to start in the best place to start, which is Argentina, where a teacher, a biology teacher, was giving out homework to her class on a memory stick. But what she didn't realise is she'd left a file on a memory stick, which showed her home video of her having sex with her partner. That is very awkward indeed. First question first, why do you need that on a memory stick? Who is leaving the house going, classic triple tap, phone, wallet, home porno, got them all, I'm off. When are you going to need that, a quick reference? Am I a virgin? Well, watch this and you'll see, won't you? It's kind of weird. That is the most exciting science lesson you will ever see. Like, the most exciting science got when I was a kid was warming up a peanut on a Bunsen burner. Orange flame, not blue. I'm not a maverick. I mean, I'm not going that far. Or the one lesson where you had to go and measure the playground with a round piece of wood on a stick. Walking around going, I don't even know what science this is. I don't know, but when I was a kid, when I was doing my homework, there'd always be a kid copying me. That is going to be very awkward indeed. Do your own, mate, come on. And I'd be looking at it going, should I be watching this? Is this going to be in the exam? Am I going to get to the end? There'll be a question. If Miss Morse leaves school at 3:38 p.m, travels northeasterly at 45 miles an hour, at what point will she have a cock in her mouth? When do you watch this? I don't understand this. I've not created a sex tape. I never have. I never will. Because I don't understand when you are going to watch that. When are you sat down going, well, now the series of Downton Abbey's finished. I suppose we should watch that video of me with you in the wheelbarrow position until you got cramp. Who watches themselves having sex? How arrogant do you have to be? You're basically going, well, I tell you who I fancy. Me. Oh, yeah, I'm a real hottie, I can tell you. I find it uncomfortable hearing my voice played back to me, let alone when it's panting and apologising. I will finish, though. It's the 6 weeks of global news. I think the best way to finish 6 weeks of global news is by telling you that good news, that the world is not going to end, the globe is not over. Because a man this week said that the Mayan prophecy that the world will end in 2012 is actually not true. He's done loads of research. I don't know why he needed to do research. No one believed it. I did some research into the Mayans. One of the things they believe is that people were made by God from dough. I am not taking the prophecy of someone who thinks I share DNA with a croissant. That is not going to be good. If someone said that on a date, that would be a deal breaker. If she said, what am I into? Long walks, French films, and I think we're all made of Hovis. I mean, I leave after the Star if it turns out she likes the Kings of Leon. Let alone if she won't eat the bread and olives because she thinks it's cannibalism. The only people that think the world's going to end are those people on internet chat rooms talking about it. If you're on internet chat rooms, your world has already ended. Also, if you think the world is going to end, right, unplug your router, go outside and try and lose your virginity. The guy said, right, that it was a mistranslation, and it was actually, what they meant to say, was it was the end of an era. So it turns out that Mayans just predicted Adrian Charles and Christine Bleakley leaving Daybreak. The only people that use the phrase end of the era, right, are bellends at the end of university when they're moving out of their house. Oh, 3 years of the House of Legend, it's the end of an era, isn't it? I'm going to have this Bob Marley poster made of smaller pictures of Bob Marley. I'm taking that. You have this piece of paper, all the quotes we hilariously said during the 3 years. We'll leave these empty booze bottles so they can see what booze hounds we were. And I'm going to have this copy of Mr. Nice by Howard Marks, yeah. I'm not taking the prediction of the Mayans. That was 5,000 years ago. If you're predicting something in 5,000 years, you have not got the balls to make a prediction. Because you know you're not going to be... It's not going to happen. But that's like when the Lib Dems used to do their manifesto going, well, it's not going to happen, is it? Didn't turn out well for them, did it? The people that are the heroes aren't the Mayans who are doing it in 5,000 years. They're the people that make predictions all the time in the modern age. People that make predictions every week. Like, tell you who it is. Football pundit Mark Lawrenson. Every week on Football Focus he's making predictions. Every week he's getting them wrong, but at least he's fucking trying. You put him up against the Mayans, it will show how good he is. I've done it here. Look, this is the predictions for this weekend's scores. Loro v the Mayans. There they are. If you can't tell the difference, Loro is on the left. Obviously the first one, Bolton v Aston Villa. Loro's gone with a 1-1, fair enough. The Mayans have gone with match postponed due to end of world. Liverpool v QPR. Loro's gone 2-1. Yeah, good news. And the Mayans have gone with a match postponed due to bread referee getting eaten by ducks. And the last one, Man U v Wolves. Laura's gone 3-0. And the Mayans have gone... They've gone 3-0 as well. They're not idiots. It's a banker. You're not going to get that one wrong. It's the Theatre of Dreams. It's a bloody... You're not going to win that. It is a pleasure to be here. Thank you. I'm going to talk to you about the main news stories this week. Sir, in the front row, what would you guess would be the main news story this week?
Oh, storms.
The storms, bloody hell. I knew it was going to be a bad storm when my mum texted me on Sunday night to inform me that my dad had put the wheelie bin in the shed. Which has got to be the most Devonshire text anyone has ever received. That was still a better warning of the storm, I would say, than the coverage on the news. This was the map they showed on the weather the day before the storm. There it is. No idea what that means. looking at that, all I'm going is 80% chance of bunting. The bake-off will be starting off in the west, and there's going to be moving across Britain for the rest of the day, and stay in your house if you don't want to get hit with a flan. It's unbelievable, that. I mean, I don't know why they do this. It's like an exam question trying to work out the weather on these. They might as well say, if a cloud leaves Bristol at 3 p.m. and travels at 70 miles an hour, at what point should you put your bin in the shed? Why do they make it so complicated? All we want to know is what to wear. They should just come on and go, in summary, a cagoule and mittens. And now for the long-term forecast, don't wear Crocs. That's nothing to do with the weather, they just look shit. What they should do is just come out wearing the right clothes, and then you know that. I wouldn't tune in a heat wave for fear of seeing Michael Fish looking like this. Coverage is terrible. They give you all this weird advice. Don't make any unnecessary drives. Who is doing that? Oh, storm's coming. Well, I don't need to go anywhere. But I think I'll go for a bit of a drive. Where are you going? Oh, past the rickety tree, along the seafront, and then go some figures of eights on the icy pond. I'll be back later. Should I tell the kids I love them? No, I'll leave it. I'll do that when I get home. And people complained because their travel was disrupted. Do any of you have your travel disrupted? Yeah, and you were delighted because it means you don't have to go to work. Yeah, they've got these special trains. I think give them a chance. They said they've got special trains that go out to clear the way. Although I would argue, perhaps these are the trains that we should be putting passengers on. Rather than the ones that are derailed by a leaf. Those people complaining their flights had been cancelled. I wouldn't complain if I turned up on Monday and my flight was cancelled. I'd complain if I turned up and my flight was the only one that wasn't cancelled. When the announcement goes up, flight EasyJet E4593 is going to have a go for it. We'll be flying at a slightly faster pace. The shuttle bus will be taking off in 5 minutes. You get there, the masks are already down. But here's the safety thing, just assume the brace position now. Do you want to check my passport? No, you won't need one of them where you're going, mate. Another big news story this week concerns these two people, Angela Merkel and Barack Obama. There they are, yes. And if you don't know, it's come out that perhaps America have been tapping the phone of Angela Merkel. Initially, I misread this and thought it was a bigger story than it was when I was told that Barack Obama was tapping Angela Merkel. Apparently, right, they've been tapping her phone. She's, one of the reasons they've been doing it since 2002 on the same number. Is she the only world leader with a Nokia 3310? Angela Merkel is still on her pay-as-you-go contract. The president, she seems to send a lot less text towards the end of the month. I mean, you're in charge of Germany. You can afford to upgrade. How much do you like Snake? President, we've got big news. Angela Merkel's phone can only hold a maximum of 10 texts. I don't even know why they're tapping Merkel. She is a boring politician. Berlusconi, that is the person whose phone you want to tap. Because you are going to see some fucked up shit. I mean, he's the only person that ends every text with that smiley with the shades and the weird sticky out tongue, isn't it? I mean, I feel sorry for the spy that is intercepting his bunga bunga text. You having a good night? Yes! So this is the headline news, and the big story this week is the high-speed rail line that David Cameron has said this week that they must cut cost on it. It's called HS2. HS2 is the sequel. HS2, this time it's personal. Now, if you don't know what HS2 is going to do, it's very exciting. What it's going to do is it's going to cut travel time to Birmingham by 20 minutes. Yes! Yes, for a cost of £42.6 billion. Now, I'm not sure I want 20 minutes extra in Birmingham for free. I mean, if you want 20 minutes extra in Birmingham, here's a suggestion. Get up 20 minutes earlier and save yourself £42.6 billion. Right, this railway is not going to be ready until 2026. I mean, I don't know anyone that is planning a meeting in Birmingham with that much advance. You all right, Steve? Do you want to meet in Birmingham on the 4th of April, 2026 at 1 p.m? Better than that, Brian. I'll meet you there at 12:40. They said the upgrading, right? If they don't build the line, the upgrading of the old line is going to cause chaos, including the route between Huntington and Peterborough going up to an hour at weekends. Give a shit. The only person that travels on that route is the driver. I mean, he doesn't even need a train. He just needs one of those things. That's all he needs. I mean, if we're going to spend money on the train, spend it on things we need, like toilets that you can flush at a station. Yeah, or an on-train magazine that isn't the shittest thing you have ever read in your life. Oh, the top 10 restaurants in Crewe. Or, here's an idea, a door that has a handle on the inside as well as the outside. Because I don't know if anyone's told the train companies that's not how doors work. The only other people that open doors like that are car thieves. But they say, right, they haven't started it. It has already gone £10 billion over budget. How is this? I mean, that is unacceptable. That's not just someone who's failed to carry the one. I mean, that is not acceptable. If your builder came back from B&Q and went, well, I've got the supplies, bit of an issue. I've gone £10 billion over budget. Do you want me to continue? Well, are you going to cut 20 seconds off my journey from the kitchen to the living room? By 2026? Carry on. To keep the cost down, what they've done, they've got in Sir David Higgins, right, is the man who kept the cost down on the Olympics. But my understanding of how they save money in the Olympics is they sold the stadium to West Ham United. Now, you can't do that with HS2 when it goes over budget. West Ham aren't going to buy that and go, God, I can't wait for the fixture list to come out. Birmingham away. Think I'll have a lie-in for 20 minutes that day? It's interesting, the route is going to go... There's people obviously pissed off that it's going to go near the house. My favourite is genuinely going through the garden, the route of the train, of David Cameron's cousin, Tilly May. Now, that is a revenge hit, isn't it? That is a man who's gone, socks for Christmas again. Yeah, what have I got you? A fucking train. 3 a patio, love. I like the idea that the whole route is just him settling scores. This is an artist's impression of Nick Clegg's garden in 2026. They say, right, that if they don't build HS2, then the future of the North is at risk. I mean, that is a pretty extreme measure, isn't it? They can't discontinue the North. I mean, I don't care if it hasn't got a train track. You can't shut it down. It's not Woolworths. It's not as classy as Woolworths for a start. I mean, it's 40 years' time, your grandchildren aren't going to go, what was it like when you were young? Well, we, son, had a thing called the North. What was it like? Exactly like this. Only everyone wore flat caps and wouldn't shut the fuck up about the Stone Roses. This is the headline news. It's an exciting week in news. I don't know if you know, MPs have been quizzing MI5, MI6 and GCHQ about their working practices. What this means, basically, this has all come from Edward Snowden revealing all these secrets of the NSA. I didn't know what the NSA was, so I Googled it, and this is what came up. The National Sheep Associations. I mean, when I heard Edward Snowden was a maverick whistleblower, I just presumed he'd taken a flock off a cliff. Exciting, isn't it? NSA launches ambassador programme, yeah. Little Bo Peep crossing her fingers for that one. Apparently, the sites the NSA targeted were Facebook, Apple, AOL. I mean, I don't know if they need to target AOL. The only time anyone Googles AOL is to check if it's still there. I mean, what other things were they going to tap into? Friends Reunited. Yeah, we've got some good data off MySpace. Tom is very lonely indeed. In fact, the only person he hangs out with is Arse Jeeves. They've both got a lot of time on their hands. People complain, don't they? They say this is an invasion of their privacy. No, it's not. No. If you are uploading photos to Facebook, you are invading your own privacy. Right? You cannot complain about your privacy being invaded if you are uploading a scan of an unborn child. I don't want to see this. I mean, I barely know you. I don't want to see your womb. I'm looking at this because I want to see your holiday pictures. You do not need to hack into Facebook. Nothing is encrypted on Facebook. Like, the most cryptic thing that there ever is on Facebook is when one of your high-maintenance friends updates their profile when they're really down. And they put, turns out some people don't understand what friendship is. And there'll always be a comment below saying, babe, inbox me. And the people writing that comment are the NSA. That's who that is. But we move on to the man who is responsible for all this, Edward Snowden. Now, Edward Snowden, he leaked all the documents from the NSA, and then he sought asylum in loads of countries, and none of them would have him. He said he got paranoid when he was on the run. He said when he was in his hotel room, if he was writing a password into his computer, he'd put a sheet over his head and the laptop. Now, look, mate, if you are putting a sheet over your head and the laptop, usually you're not writing a password. And if you are wearing your headphones, that is not because you don't want people to hear you writing your password. And if you are clearing your internet history, that's not because you fear people may see your password. And then when you take the sheet off and you're wiping down the keys, that is not to get rid of the fingerprints. He's got a new job at a Russian website. I mean, that must have been a very awkward interview. So what was your reason for leaving the last job? They were going to put me in Guantanamo Bay, yeah. Bloody hell, the National Sheep Association are quite harsh, aren't they? The other kind of kingpin in this exposing of secrets is Julian Assange. Julian Assange is the editor of WikiLeaks, and he's currently... here's a picture of Julian Assange. There he is. That's him imagining what it'd be like to be on a tube train if he ever gets to do it again. Julian Assange, if you don't know, he's living in the Ecuadorian embassy and he can't leave because in Sweden he's been accused of rape and he doesn't want to be extradited there. And he's offered Edward Snowden the use of his lawyers. And if I was Edward Snowden, I wouldn't accept the lawyers of a man who has to live in the Ecuadorian embassy. I'd go to O.J. Simpson. That's the guy with the best lawyers. He's been in there almost 18 months. I mean, only hanging out with the ambassador. He must be pissed off with Ferrero Rocher by now. But he's had a lot of people visiting him as well. Vivienne Westwood visited him at the embassy. This is a picture of Vivienne Westwood. There you can see she's wearing a T-shirt, right, that when she's going in, saying, I'm Julian Assange. It looks like she's on the shittest stag do of all time, doesn't it? Is it that easy to get into the Ecuadorian embassy? Just to wear a T-shirt saying, I'm Julian Assange. Someone tell the American government they can do that. Incidentally, don't wear that T-shirt in Sweden. That could go very badly wrong indeed. So, I think the main story this week for me is in Toronto, and it is the mayor of Toronto. Yes, Rob Ford. He's a popular man. If you don't know what he's done, I mean, he has been a naughty boy. He's been drink driving. He was filmed talking about how he'd like to murder someone. He allegedly brought escorts into City Hall, right, and he has admitted smoking crack. But he still hasn't been sacked. He's the kind of person that makes you go, well, Boris Johnson's all right, isn't he? If you don't know what Rob Ford looks like, this is what he looks like. That is genuinely him at work. And you might say, well, wearing a football shirt to work is unprofessional. I'd say, once you've smoked crack, more or less every day is dress down Friday, isn't it? People go, Rob, what are you doing? Why aren't you wearing a suit? Oh, I don't want to get crack on it. I mean, that doesn't show a politician that takes himself seriously. If David Cameron turned up at the G8 in a full Aston Villa kit, Barack Obama going, you're wearing shin pads? What the fuck are you doing? Got G8 on the back as well. But it's actually quite cheap because they do it by the letter, so I've had a real bonus there. One of his defences for taking crack, Rob Ford, was that he said, oh, don't worry, I'm not an addict, right? Well, for me, that makes it worse, doesn't it? Because if you're an addict, at least that's a reason to take it. If, when it comes to crack, you can take it or leave it, leave it. He's basically one of those annoying social smokers, but with crack. That's what it is. You'd be outside of the pub, he'd come up to you and go, I couldn't just have a bit of your crack, could I? You know, I only do it when I'm out on about. I mean, I wouldn't buy my own. People were with him as well when he was smoking his crack, which I find that unbelievable. If you were with the guy that was running your city while he was smoking crack, you'd think, all my Christmases have come at once here, haven't they? I mean, if you were with Boris Johnson and he was smoking crack, you would think, I have got him exactly where I want him. I am never paying for a Boris bike ever again. Yeah, is that Boris? Yeah, you know that photo I've got you? Yeah. I want my bins collected on Tuesdays and Thursdays from now on. He said, though, he's given an excuse, Rob Ford, right? He said, don't worry, right? He's given an excuse. It's a good excuse as well for taking crack. And this was, when he was taking crack, he was really pissed. He said it was right. He said, that probably happened in one of my drunken stupors. You go, that is not an excuse. Being pissed is an excuse for buying cheesy chips. It's not an excuse for taking crack. I mean, I've been pissed. I've never ended up in a crack den. I've never ended up in Chicken Cottage. That is about as far as I'd go. He said he's healthy, right? He said, I'm a healthy man. He said he spends 2 hours a day at the gym. Doing what? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, one of the few benefits of crack, I thought, was that it kept you thin. My favourite story of the week, though, my favourite headline it's about Cornelius Gurlitt. If you don't know Cornelius Gurlitt, and you might not, he's a 80-year-old German man, and they found in his house 1,400 paintings worth £80 million, right? And they've taken these off him because he got them because they were confiscated by the Nazis. I was reading this thinking, I mean, that would have been the best fucking episode of Cash in the Attic. Angela Rippon's going, and Cornelius wants a new stair lift. We've managed to raise £80 million. So he's also going to have a holiday and invade Poland. They said that it's quite a kind of, he's lived a very lonely existence. They described his life. They said he lives in a bare apartment, I would say. Put some paintings up, right? And apparently he's out of touch with reality, right? They said, right, he talks to his paintings, he described them as loyal. I think they've misheard it. I think he probably said oil. And he said he's not watched TV since 1963. I mean, this is the only person in the world that still thinks Jimmy Savile's career is on the up and up. I don't think that they're as valuable as people say, right? I've worked it out. They should be worth about 600 grand each if you kind of multiply it down, right? And I've got a few of them here. I'd say this isn't worth that much, this painting. Here it is. That is genuinely one of them. Not only is that one of the freakiest things I've ever seen in my life, secondly, it's clearly a fake because she's clearly wearing a digital watch. Here's another one of them. Here's another one. Now, my guess there is that, you know, he started slipping a few of his own in there, hasn't he? Because if I saw that, I wouldn't go, fucking hell, that's an awesome painting. I'd go, well, your niece is doing well at school, isn't she? You're going to put that on the fridge? But my favourite one, this is, and here it is. Yeah, there it is. That's an original picture of the mayor of Toronto. So there you go. So, I am from Devon. Racist. It's a pleasure to be here with all your headline news. I think the main story this week is the policeman who was linked with the case of the Tory MP, Andrew Mitchell, is facing misconduct proceedings. If you don't know who Andrew Mitchell is, this is him. There he is. Yeah, that is a picture of him. That's not just a poster for Elliot from E.T. The Wilderness Years. I mean, that is not a politician that has any power, is it, on that bike? I mean, Barack Obama flies around in Air Force One. He has stolen a vicar's bike. Andrew Mitchell was accused of using the word pleb. I mean, I haven't heard that word since I was 7. The last time I was called a pleb was because I turned up at school with a bowler haircut. I like the fact he was just going for anything from the playground. His other option was going up to the policeman and going, "You a bummer tied to a tree." "You're not. A bummer on the loose, run!" But all right, he was livid, right, Andrew Mitchell. The reason he was angry is he was trying to leave Downing Street on his bike, and they wouldn't let him put his bike through the big gate. That's not a euphemism. That'd be a very different story. I've got a picture of the gates here. There they are. I mean, you can see his excitement, can't you? Look at the hinges on that bastard. My favourite people are the 2 policemen. I mean, they are men that know they have no respect as police officers. I mean, if you're a policeman, you want to, investigate murders or fraud. I mean, basically, their job is to decide whether you go through a big gate or a little gate. Basically, mate, you're a glorified troll. That is what you are. Right, the MPs last year accused the police over this story of being mendacious. I didn't even know what that was. To me, that sounds like Simon Cowell's new boy band. Just goes, you can't go through as individual artists, but if you form mendacious, I'll put you through to boot camp. I mean, if someone called me mendacious, I wouldn't know whether to, take it as a compliment or an insult. Just go, "You're mendacious." "Well, thank you very much." "And I think you're blokelicious." "And you, my friend, are chaptastic." But he said he's going to come back and he's going to rebuild his political career. Bullshit. He had no political career anyway. I looked into his career, right? This is how powerful he was. His greatest achievement, right, as a politician was in 2009 when he won Westminster Dog of the Year. I mean, now, that is not a real award. That is the award you give someone when everyone else has got an award except them. You're the Chancellor, you're the Foreign Secretary, and you have a really good dog. 2010, he won neatest handwriting. And 2011, he won shittest bike. Also, a little tip, if you do win Westminster Dog of the Year, when taking the photo, don't let it look like you are bumming your own dog. The other big news this week is that the West has signed an agreement with Iran aimed at stopping them developing nuclear bombs. It should be good news, it should, but I'm not sure it is going to save the world. I was reading it. One of the agreements states that Iran will get rid of most of their nuclear weapons. Now, that doesn't fill you with confidence, does it? If someone said, "I'm happy to sleep with you, be aware I've got rid of most of my STDs." I mean, I am developing new ones secretly, but that is just to take down the West. But I don't trust Iran, I never have. They said they weren't creating a bomb, even though they had the ingredients, right? They said that they had uranium, right? But it was no stronger than 5%. That is still strong, that is still the strength of Stella. I mean, that leads to fights every Friday night. I mean, Iran and the West have had no formal ties for 34 years. No formal ties, although, to be honest, I didn't realise there was a dress code. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Fuck you. That is, that really is solid gold punnage. And, I don't know. They say it's good news. It is good news they're closing their uranium plants. I mean, there is bad news as well. I feel sorry for the people that worked at the uranium plants. I do. They thought they had a job for life, didn't they? I mean, admittedly, that life was 12 months max, but they thought they had a job for life. This news was revealed on Twitter, right, by the president of Iran, Hassan Rouhani, right? Now, I did some research into Hassan Rouhani. Right down the bottom of his Wikipedia, It turns out, right, that he is genuinely married to his cousin. Now, you know, you are a controversial character. If you are married to your cousin and that isn't the main thing people bring up. If I had a mate who was married to his cousin, that would be the first thing I would tell anyone I introduced him to. Whatever he'd done, I go, this is Steve, he was married to his fucking cousin. Yeah, it's not cancer, but the cousin thing, that is the main thing. I mean, it took 3 days to make the decision. The first 2 were just hit about the other leaders going, you're married to your fucking cousin. What kind of weirdo are you? So I went onto his Twitter. Right, here it is. There it is. What I like is he's got only 139,000 followers, one of the most important people in the world. To give you an idea, that is 15 times less than Joey Essex. No, although I would claim that Joey Essex is a greater threat to Western civilization. So, this is the headline news, and the big headline this week was, we are not having sex. That is a headline, that's not just what a girl said to me on Friday. This is the National Sex Survey, which has found that we are having less sex now than we were in 1990, which, of course, was a very sexy time. Ice Ice Baby was out, who could stop themselves? But we are having less sex. I'd like to say I am not to blame with this. I'm not bragging, but I am having more sex than I was in 1990. Yeah, thank you, yeah. To put it in some perspective, I have had sex 1 more times this year than I did in 1990. Now, apparently, the average British person has sex 5 times a month. Yes, you're all in shock, going, fuck, you know. Obviously, if you take Russell Brand out of that, it's actually -3 times each. Obviously, Russell Brand didn't take part in the survey. He doesn't believe in voting. I think we should be fighting this. I think if every time you have sex, you should be celebrating. Going, look, I'm doing it. I'm trying to get the national average up. Sleep with me. That's what we should do. Go, this is one in the eye for the statisticians. Quite literally, my aim was off. And, the other thing they said is not only are people having less sex, but what they are doing is having more intrepid sex. Now, I don't know what that is. That sounds to me like you're fucking Ray Mears, doesn't it? Just going, you're going to wear anything sexy? Yeah, I've just been down to Millets. So... what am I wearing? Thick socks? And a fleece? I mean, intrepid sex. It sounds like you're going to whittle a condom from the bark of a tree. Is this going to be Ray Mears' new series, Beating Around the Bush? I mean, they said in this survey that the reason we are having less sex is that we're not cohabiting, and it is more difficult to have sex if you are on your own. No shit, so... Tell you what, it's impossible, as I found in my teenage years. Numerous pillows, duvets, and a traumatised Kermit the Frog will agree. There are people that have said we should be more kind of sexualised as a nation. Tracy Cox is, if you don't know her, she's a sexpert, and Cox is not spelt how it should be. She's a sexpert, which isn't a job, is it? That's the kind of thing a twat would have written on their T-shirt. She might as well be a boob inspector. She has said that Tesco should sell vibrators, presumably with the slogan, every little helps. I don't want that in Tesco's. I don't want to see a Tesco value vibrator. I don't want to hear the phrase unexpected item in the shagging area. Do you know the weirdest thing about this story was it was illustrated in the Telegraph newspaper with this photo. Now, I don't know what the fuck is going on there. It looks like someone is giving birth to a really big baby. Because they are not having sex. She's got her legs crossed. Is that intrepid sex? Is that what we are doing? So, moving on with sex. Maybe the reason we're not having sex is we are worrying about immigration. A lot of people seem to be worrying about this. David Cameron has put in new measures, right, to stop mass immigration from Bulgaria and Romania when they join the EU on January the 1st. Now, to give you an idea of how successful these will be, let's have a look at the last attempt he made to fight immigration. It was these vans, which say on them, "Go home or face arrest." Basically, what he's created there is a racist ice cream van. Hundreds and thousands? Yeah, you're bloody right, and they're coming from Bulgaria and Romania. It's unbelievable, right? What happens is if you are an illegal immigrant, you text home to 78070, and they'll come and get you. I mean... You know, like, that is the best prank if your mate leaves his phone unattended, isn't it? A lot of people complain about immigration. They go, we're full, aren't we? We're not full, are we? It's not a fucking tube train. It's a massive country. There's no one on the edge of Dover going, move the fuck up, I'm falling off. Can everyone move right down inside the country? Some of us are trying to get on. I mean, it's not like a nightclub. We're not going to have to go one in, one out. Some of the board are going, fucking hell, man, you went out for a cigarette? Come on. I'm not going to the back of the queue. My mates are in there. Apparently, to stop immigration from Bulgaria, they have put posters up that say Britain is too cold. Yeah, because that's why they're coming, isn't it? For the weather. It's not to improve their lives. Well, I would like to improve my life, but if I've got to wear a fucking fleece... Well, for the climate and the intrepid sex. I mean, I'm into both of them. I mean, if you want to put posters up in Eastern Europe to put people off coming to Britain, just put posters up saying, you see all these stag doos? They're British. Do you want to live on an island with 60 million of these pricks? You have been absolutely lovely. That has been the headlines. Thank you very much. My name's Josh Williams. Cheers. Goodbye.